when you guys come in on Monday, you're going to start your color wheel, okay? Now this color wheel right here, this is not finished. This is just the beginning of our color wheel, and I'm going to hold it up for you in a minute so you can see what I'm talking about. But it's brushy, okay? I don't have enough layers. My expectations for you guys, first of all, is that you're mixing the colors you need from your primary colors, okay? Second of all, that you're staying inside the lines, which can be difficult, okay? It's not even easy. I even messed up in the red. So you got to really pay attention and just really be cautious. The next one is that we need to do smooth brush strokes. And we don't want to push the brush down super hard. You know, it's a lighter pressure. We have a light pressure, so we're just using the tip of the brush, especially on the edges, so we're not going outside of the lines. And then we want to do not too much paint. I know you're like, oh, if I use a bunch of paint, it'll go faster. Well, actually, it clumps. It takes longer to dry, and then it's like bumpy and clumpy, and it can even crack. When it dries later, it looks really bad, okay? So you just want to do regular layers, kind of thinner layers, and we're just going to do multiple layers. So you'll do a layer of your orange, you'll let it dry, and you'll come back later, and you'll put on another layer. And you'll keep layering them until it looks opaque. What does opaque mean? Anybody? Opaque? Anthony? That's good. Yeah, it is kind of... dark works for me because, yeah, it's darker, it becomes more intense, but what it means is that you can't see through it, okay? It's non-see-through. So, I'm going to hold this up to you, and hopefully you can see, this is very brushy. You can see the brush strokes, you can see through it. So it's not opaque, okay? It's actually still very transparent. Transparent is see-through, like our windows are transparent. Yeah, there's different levels of transparency. You know, some of these are a little less transparent because I've built up more layers. But at the end, we want to have it smooth. You want to see as little brush stroke as possible. You want it to be as opaque as possible and staying inside the lines. Okay, that's your goal. Now, I'm going to flip it so you can see what's happening. It's upside down, but not really. Okay, we're good. Now, yeah, question? Let's wait until I'm done so you don't miss anything, okay? Now, something I want you to take note of is anytime I take my brush out of the water, I press it on my paper towel to get out excess water. This is not watercolor, so unless I am doing it with purpose, I really don't want extra water on my brush because it will thin the paint out and make it watery. You don't want to do that. Just starting off with, oh, I don't know, where's the red? The red's supposed to be here. You can't see the label, but it should be here. Starting off with the red, I would dip my brush in the paint. I kind of twist it. I don't want too much. I don't really need a whole lot more than that. And what I do to start, and this may or may not work for you, as I come along, I'm doing lighter pressure, I'm just touching the tip of the brush, and I kind of outline the edges. So I'm defining my borders. Okay. And that helps me keep the rest of everything that I do inside the lines. I have to dip more, and I kind of twirl my brush right on the edge to get off extra paint, because if there's too much paint, it's hard to stay inside the lines, okay? So if I have too much paint, I wipe it off, I go through, there we go, I've outlined it, and then I'm just doing smooth brush strokes, kind of in the same direction, then I'll kind of go in another direction, nice and smooth, trying to smooth out all those lumps of paint and get rid of all the little white spots and fill it in, okay? I would go through and I'd start with my primary colors. What are those? Yes, red, blue, and yellow. So I'd start with those, okay? And what's nice is they're spaced out on the color wheel, so it gives time to dry before we put the next one next to it, okay? So then after that, I'm going to start mixing my colors. Now let's talk about how we would make a green. What will we mix? Anybody? Yellow and blue. Yellow and blue. Now, what are our proportions of yellow to blue? Are we going to do equal, more or less of one or the other? What? Equal. Who said more? Yeah, more. Okay. I like the way you're thinking. More of the yellow. Why would that be? Yeah, the blue is strong, right? So we need more of the yellow. And we're always going to start with our lighter color. You don't want to start with your darker color. You're going to start with your lighter color. So I'm going to come to the yellow. And I'm going to do 2 scoops of yellow with my brush. I'm going to rinse my brush off. I'm going to dab it on my paper towel. And then I'm going to do a touch of blue. Okay, just like this, and we'll see what happens. And when I mix it, lovely. I have a nice green. It's a little bit lighter. If I wanted it darker, I could just touch in a little more blue until I got to the color that I wanted, okay? But what I'm going to do is once I have the color I like, I'm going to come to my color wheel where the green would be, and then I'm going to start painting the green in. And I know, guys, on the screen it's hard for you to see what it looks like, so I'm going to hold it up for you. I'm just going to do it really quickly. That's my green, okay? And I like it. It works for me. Now, what if I wanted to take that green and next to it I have yellow green? How would I make it more of a yellow green? More yellow. But would I want to put yellow into here? No, because I want to start with my lighter color. So I'd rinse my brush, dry it off. I'd take some yellow, and I can use this area right here. I'd put my yellow there. I'd take some green. I'd scoop it into that yellow. And that's where I would make my yellow green. And if it's not light enough, I can get a little more yellow and yellow it out a little bit more. And then kind of test it over here. And yeah, I think that's going to work. That's going to be nice and bright. It's going to be lighter than the other one, okay? So you want to go around and you want to mix all your other colors. I would start with your primaries, our red, yellow, and blue, and then move on to our secondaries. So how would I make? Oh, orange.
Red.
How much?
More yellow than red.
Thank you. More yellow than red. So I'm working like 2 scoops of yellow, rinsing my brush. And I'm always not the best person at brush rinsing, and that'll bite you in the end. That's a bad habit that I have. I get a little rushed. You want to really be cautious and rinse the brush so you're not cross-contaminating your colors. But I'm going to do a little bit of red, mix it up. That's pretty. I know it's hard for you to see the difference on the screen, so I'm going to paint it in here so you can see, and then I'm going to hold it up, and I've got a nice orange, okay? And if I wanted to make my red orange or my yellow orange, then I would, off to the side, add more of the yellow or more of the red to change the color, okay? Now let's talk about violet. How are we going to make violet? Yes, and what would our proportions be there? Equal. It would be, you would think it would be more red than blue, but red and blue are pretty powerful colors. And so let's start equal and see what we come up with. I'm going to try to make it equal. That might have just been a little more heavy on the blue. I'll touch a little more red in there so it's kind of equal. Okay, so it's real dark, right? Yeah. So let me put it right here so you can see. That's pretty dark. It's a dark violet. How would I lighten that violet up a smidge? Yes. If I wanted to lighten it up a smidge, I could add a touch of white into it. And it's going to just make it a little bit lighter, a little easier to see, and it's kind of hard to see because I didn't do enough layers of the darker one, but if I did more layers of the original, it would be much darker. What's going to happen when you add white is it's going to actually make your color more opaque, okay? White makes it cover other things easier. So if I add a touch of white to it, I can actually do my layers a little bit faster, which is nice. But what happens if you add too much white? Yeah, it becomes too light. What do we call a color that's got like a ton of white in it?
Translucent.
Pastel. We're getting into the pastels, okay? The value and the tone, it becomes much lighter. So you just want to be cautious, okay? I'm going to turn this around to where you can see this other one again, okay? This is me going around the color wheel, trying to mix all my different colors. That's one layer. I am going to keep building that up until it gets nice and smooth and opaque. Carefully staying inside of the lines. I really try not to do two colors that are next to each other at the same time, because what happens if you're painting next to each other? What do you think could happen? Yeah, they can mix together. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. It's just annoying. So I try to go like every other, and then when the yellow is like mostly dry, then I'll come back and do yellow orange. Okay, unless you got a lot of skill and you know that that's not going to happen, it's good to kind of work every other. Okay, I will have this example done for you so you guys can see my expectation for the final and how it should look at the end. But this is the very beginning of painting and color mixing, and this is what you'll be doing Monday when you walk into class. Okay? At the end, when we're done, we clean up, and that means we rinse our brushes fully, we put them brush up by the sink, we dump our water, we stack the cups. If we have any mess, we clean it up, and you can actually, you want to put your lid on your palette fully, okay? Just leave it how it is because you want to use it the next day. And then you can take your newsprint paper underneath and your color wheel, and you can put both of those in your tote, and you can save them for the next day, all right?